Welcome everyone to this webinar. I will introduce our speakers' names, but I will not give you any more information about them because we have 4 speakers and I want to make sure they have as much possible to present. And then we will have discussion at the end. Each is going to present for 10 minutes. So our first presenter will be Dr. Hazret Nahuglu, and then our second presenter will be Dr. Meltem Selan Abioglu. Maybe I can't use doctor yet, but in a week or two, it will be doctor. Then third will be Dr. Gaye Defne Sekan, and fourth will be Dr. Burju Gunur Kabar. And they will tell you about their work and where they're teaching and how they use systems thinking in their teacher training classes. Please, Hazret, would you go first?
Thank you. Hello, good evening. I'm Hasret Nuhoğlu, and I am working as a professor in the Department of Mathematics and Science Education at Maltepe University Faculty of Education. And firstly, on behalf of System Thinking Association and myself, I would like to thank the pre-college special interest group of the System Dynamics Society for the opportunity to share our experience. Let's start from the beginning, back to 2005. And I got into these whole things and I met system thinking and system dynamics by reading Meadows articles on environmental issue. And my PhD thesis was one of the pioneering works on the application of system dynamics approach in Key 12 education in Turkey. And thanks to my supporting mentor Yaman Barlas, who might be here with us right now, I think. And I am a member of the System Thinking Association established in Izmir in 2014. And for the past 15 years, I have been volunteering supporting the dissemination of system thinking and system dynamics in the field of the education. Um, Within the association, we aim to introduce teachers to system thinking and support them in implementing it in their classes. And one of the outcomes of these efforts was a shift toward academic research. Initially, we aimed to introduce system thinking at undergraduate and graduate level in education faculties and collaborate with academics to conduct research in this area. In 2019, we introduced system thinking as a master's course for the first time in Turkey, especially at MEF University. And MEF University. This course involves lecturers delivered jointly by an educator, me, and medical professor and Ülkem Yararbaş, and the industrial engineer, Emre Göktepe, along with sharing experience from practicing teachers, and Professor Yaman Barlas, kick off our first class, who was quite exciting, and we completed the 40-hour course with that same enthusiasm. So what did we do during those 40 hours in math program? First, you can see in the table 40 hours. First, we covered the theoretical foundation of system thinking and habits of system thinkers and system thinking tools in detail. both theoretically and practically. We played the word change game, word climate game, where teachers shared their experiences and classroom practices. And we tested the teachers with developing a project focusing on applying system thinking, and they shared their project. At the end of each day, we assigned reading and we had the discussion with them. In 2020 and 21, we arrange our courses based on the previous experience, enriching our content through evaluation process. And since our classes were conducted online, we made them interactive by using the Web 2.0 tools. So, what did we gain from these courses? First, we experienced the importance of interdisciplinary work firsthand, and we recognize the richness of collaboration and co-creation. And we observed the benefits of system thinking in helping students identify and solve problems. We realized the effort required in problem solving encountered while using system thinking tools, and we experienced the collaboration of system thinking to metacognition thinking skills. Based on these gains, we asked ourselves if we could try the system thinking course in different programs, and the answer led us to offer the system thinking elective course in the IB program, IB leadership certificate program in education management and supervising at multiple universities. It's a selective course. And what is the IB? Say that about something in IB. The International Baccalaureate aims to foster encouraging, knowledgeable, and caring young individuals who contribute to creating a better and more peaceful world through intercultural understanding and respect. And these programs encourage students to become active, compassionate, and lifelong learners who appreciate the validity of different perspectives. And throughout the 14 weeks, we learned the foundations of system thinking theoretically and practically with the teachers. We researched the relationship between habits of system thinkers and IB learner profiles and making comprehensions. And we learned about system thinking tools such as behavior over time, graphs, causal loop diagrams, and stock flow diagrams, both theoretically and practically. We attempt model development with Stella Online with support from Emre Göktepe and Sena Yıldız Değirmenci. And Özgün Kurt and Gökşen Akyol shared their experience on how system thinking is implemented in the IB program, and teachers who took the course successfully passed through 5 different evaluations stage. And the assessment tools are group working, assignment, readings, and learning theory. And the end of the course, they prepared a final project about system thinking. Um, And out of these successful teachers, Esra Şeker, Bilgen Ulus, Dilek Boyraz and Aysun Çelik'ten wrote a thesis about system thinking. And Bilgen Ulus, the effect of system thinking approach to reading comprehension skill of primary school. And Esra Şeker, the effect of system thinking approach, awareness levels and behaviors on second grade primary school students and on recycling. And Dilek Boyraz and Aysun Çelik'ten using system thinking tools in Turkish language. So what did this experience teach us? First, we learned about the applicability of system thinking in IB programs, and we focused on the commonalities between IB and system thinking, and we recognized challenges in implementation and focused on finding solution about the problems. And finally, we pondered on what to do next and answer these questions and how can we enrich the IB programs with system thinking and can we develop new activities and scenarios for better learning and how can we redesign this course to be more effectively. And I have shared our experience from MEF and Maltepe University on master programs with you. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, Hazret, for this wonderful presentation. Meltem, would you like to go on with your presentation now?
Sure. I'm just passing. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes,
Hang on.
but now it's gone.
Okay, just sorry.
I have a black bar on the screen. Is there a reason there is a black bar on the screen?
Hang on.
You can move it to the bottom of your screen, Meltem.
Okay. Maybe I should hide it, but I couldn't find hide it.
Tamam, there's another one.
Sorry. Can you see it now?
There's a black bar at the upper part of your screen.
Yes, that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Now it's good.
Okay. Thank you. I'm Meltem Seyran Ali Beyoğlu. I'm fully working at Darüşşafaka Education Institution, and I'm also part-time instructor at two universities, which one of them is a Boğaziçi University and the other one is MEF University. And I'll a little bit talk about my experiences in both university, and that's why, according to our calendar, I will talk about the sustainable life education for sustainable life course and development experiences in math and science courses. I know that we have limited time, and that's why I will go quickly. These are the education for sustainable life. I opened this courses as the first time in MEF University in summer 2022, and the rest of them for the last two semesters, which are called developmental experiences in math and sciences. And firstly, for education for sustainable life, that was a summer course. I opened it in summer because of the time limitation for me. And it was a graduate course. and 9 teachers these are teachers, full-time teachers, and they were coming in 4 different fields. 4 of them was physical education background, 4 of them 5 primary school teachers, and 1 of them is social studies. I was lucky that these all students took the first courses from that Hasret, Emre, and Ülkem in the university. That's why it was a kind of base. They have the base for system thinking, and I go on that base. And my course, both courses that I will talk today, is not truly on systems thinking approach or system dynamics approach, but I adapted systems thinking into our syllabus. And that's why one of my limitations was that heavy programs, but using systems thinking as a method, I tried to adapt it. And during that time, since they have already a base for system thinking, I gave ESED 2001 course, that is an online course that we develop in the association by the help of project teachers. And I use that online course as a flip learning material, that as most of us use it, these 2 courses as a flip learning material. And by the help of this, it was the first use of this online courses, and it was a part of the project that called Environmental Education with System Thinking and the World Climate Game that we developed with collaboration with Boğaziçi University, System Thinking Association in Turkey, Darüşşafaka Education Institution, and UNDP Acceleration Lab. That was a program called making the World Climate Game more effective with some lesson plans with system thinking base. And we adapted it in our school, in Darüşşafaka schools, and then with the teachers, we took all these experiences and the background to the online courses. That's why teachers made student adaptation, teachers made material with the association, and with Boğaziçi University, we took it to the online courses, and it was used as a learning material in the university course. That's why we take also some feedback from my students as well. And during the whole courses, mentoring was very important for me in that processes, because when we are trying to adapt system thinking or system dynamics tools, you need to think collaboratively. And every week we met with Emre for at least 1 hour to talk what happened last lesson, what will we can design as a whole when we are making adaptations. And that's why I think mentoring is very important. Although we are in the university, is very critical. We also sometimes came together with Burcu, Gaye, and Hasret as well, with Ülkem as well, in this mentoring system. One of the tasks that I gave here to the teachers was that changing one of their unsustainable habit. They draw the first. It was a homework. They draw the change of the habit in the past, and then they made the changes, and they make the another behavior over time graphs through showing the teachers through showing these habit changing. And that's why one of them, for example, likes using a lot of water, not likes, but washing the water cycle a lot so quickly, and he decided to change it to save the water, and he worked on that habit, for example. That's why they also kind of a practice that they can take it into the class. They can make it that kind of activities with the students. That's why one of my also aim, and that's why at the end of the task they also talk about that we can take it to the class with talking with the students, and when we are making changes. And also Meadows activity, Cross Your Arms, was so helpful for me to think about this, because it's also sustainable life. It's related to the sustainable life, and also sustainable, sorry. And also for our courses, for SEDQ's 2001, I also put some quiz questions related to this flip learning material, that how much they understood and how points are not clear, and how deeply they understood the tools, the system dynamics tools. And that was a good assessment for me to see all of these things. We were so happy that two of the participants that Hasit also gave their names made their thesis on systems thinking, and also they became the member in the association. That was a good further approach for further experiences, that we see that they wanted to try part of developers in an adaptation of systems thinking in the classes, and they practice this change in the classes also. That was a good part for the courses for me also. The other courses that I will try to mention is that developmental experiences in math and science course. And this was, I gave it twice. One of them was the last semester and the other one the earlier one. It was the early child education course, and in the first one 32 and the second one 31 teacher candidates were joining the courses. It's a math course for third grade undergraduate students. One of the tasks that they need to complete is that introduction to system thinking module. And that was also flip learning material for me as well. When I gave the deadline, after this deadline, when they finished this completion, I made stock and flow diagrams. That was a good material for me to save my time as well. And also they deeply understand, and that I also know that what they know about systems thinking tools. And also the syllabus, as I told you, that I adapted systems thinking into my program. That's why maybe we don't need to see this syllabus, but at least that this syllabus we summarized with stock flow diagrams to the students at the beginning. That was also so nice that Emre helped me to do it. One of the tasks that most I focused on for undergrad, for early child teachers candidate, is that how they understand the change over time graph, behavior over time graph. And I do some activities because unfortunately their math and science motivation was so low. And that's why they sometimes choose early child education, not to do math or science. And that's why by small steps, what is the graph, how we can organize it. Through the story, can we draw a behavior over time graph? What kind of variables that you can think about from the story, and try to draw this variables. Please draw the behavior over time graphs. Or sometimes I gave the graph, and please behavior over time graph of, for example, of a story, but please write this possible story. That's why kind of activities I do. And also one of the tasks that I gave them is that they wrote their autobiography about math and science motivation, and through the time, and they explained it in a text as well, and they draw their motivation levels. And from these stories, they also do make some loops. They try to, at least, and also some stock flow diagrams, at least explain the reasons and the results. And one of the things that they ask me is that where should we start when we became a teacher? That's why attendance graphs I introduced to the students And we made this graph in the class, during the course happens. Every day they draw it, how many students come or didn't come. They made it, and it was a good tool to transfer to the classes when they became a teacher. And I had two different guest invited speakers, and one of them they came face to face. The other one was online invited speakers, and they were both from the preschool teachers, and they know they use system thinking very very well, and they talk about their math and science applications, implementations in the class, but also they talk about their system thinking and how they use system thinking in their classes. And that's why they both guests were so helpful to visualize that something can happen after when you are trying to do it in the class. And that is possible, that you can take it, because there are some real people, real teachers, that they are trying to do it. And because they explain how difficult it is, how not, and how they began, and what kind of reaction the students happens, how much time they need to develop. That's why they all share their experiences. And also the second guest was Gülnaz, and she wrote a book related for preschool students related to system thinking. We use that book as a material in the class in the first course I opened, and the second one, it was a part of the quiz question. That her book is also a learning material for me during the course. And one of the reflection that one of the students wrote, I tried to translate it. That was my it made me happy a lot, because it says that not only as a teacher to transfer it to the class, but also for their daily life, something happens. And one of the aim for both courses was for me is that it came across with system thinking community that can help you also, and some people also can do it. That is possible, and that's why the meeting came across with system thinking. But at the same time, there's a learning community that can also support you or mentor you during the whole experiences, during the whole attempts. That's why it was good points, and I think that I'm supposed to do succeed some of the parts. And some of the students who are in that groups are also took some courses from Gaye, although their math and science motivation was quite low. I'm so happy that they chose these courses, even though they were third grade. They chose fourth grade course, and plus mostly science and math teachers candidate took these courses. That's why these are good attempts, I think, and that's why mentoring is important. And every time I fresh the class lesson plans, and also how I design the lessons. That's why also so important. That's why I'm taking always notes. How can I change my courses? Thank you so much.
Thank you, Meltem. You have many important guidelines in your presentation that we should go into in much more detail at a later point. Now, Gaye, we would like to hear your presentation.
Thank you. First of all, I want to thank System Dynamic Society Pre-College Special Interest Group for the invitation for presentation. So we have a chance to share our experiences as instructors for pre-service teachers. Then I want to thank Emre and Ülkem especially for their support in System Thinking Association in Turkey. They introduced me to systems thinking, and it was very valuable because in my master's, I worked on climate change education, but when they introduced me to systems thinking, actually, I thought that I'm just teaching the science part. Now I'm able to teach the holistic perspective of climate change. And I want to also thank to Hasret, Meltem, Burcu, especially because they shared their experiences. So we met frequently to share our experiences and to improve ourselves as instructors and researchers. So now I can continue with my presentation after finishing the thank you part. I also want to thank Diane Fisher as well, because we are meeting every week and her valuable contribution is very important for my progress in systems thinking. So I'm an assistant professor at Boğaziçi University, Department of Math and Science Education. And today I'm going to talk about the two different courses that I offered in the consequent order. I offered systems thinking in science and math education once, and I offered climate change education course twice, and I'm planning to keep offering them, by the way. So first I want to start talking about systems thinking in math and science education course. This course is designed for 14 weeks, like one semester. And 27 pre-service teachers enrolled to this course. This is an elective course for these pre-service teachers. And majority of them were math at pre-service teachers, science at pre-service teachers, and masters in science and math at course. Here's the syllabus. I'm not going to go into details, but I want to give the structure. So I first started with the systems thinking approach and its relevance in science and math education. And then I moved into system dynamics tools, starting with behavior over time graphs, stock flow diagrams, causal loop diagrams, and then exploring systems thinking tools in lesson plans, how they are implemented in different lesson plans. And then we moved into modeling systems in education using Stella program. Throughout the semester, I had invited speakers. I think almost all of them are here with us today. Some of them talked about systems thinking or system dynamics in general. And I also had teachers invited who implemented systems thinking in their classrooms, in service teachers. So they were a good guide for my pre-service teachers and had a chance to see how they are actually implemented in real life. I also asked the pre-service teachers to write reflective journals twice throughout the semester to see how they are doing, like how they feel about learning systems thinking. Is it too hard for them? Like, how do they, I just wanted to hear their feelings about it. And I want to briefly talk about the structure. So first, like the other courses Meltem mentioned, the students were required to complete ESD 101, Introduction to Systems Thinking module, on their own. So that was the flipped learning part of the lesson. And then they were required to determine a system problem at the beginning of the semester. And throughout the semester, they worked on explaining the problem by using systems thinking tools. And at the end of the semester, they were required to develop a lesson plan using systems thinking tools. These were the problems that they determined at the beginning of the semester and worked on it throughout the semester. So as you can see, most of them selected the problems that they personally face. And then throughout the semester, they looked at behavior over time graphs. They used the real world data. They didn't create the graphs by themselves, but they interpreted the graphs. And then they draw stock flow diagrams using Stella online programs. But some of the students were not able to create it, which is okay. We are not expecting everyone to be able to develop these models. Some of them used the models used in the literature and just interpreted it in their assignments. And then they were expected to draw causal loop diagrams about the problem that they selected. Again, if they cannot create it, they used from the literature, just interpreted it properly. And during these reflections, what I see was they were very happy learning about systems thinking. Some of them mentioned they improved themselves in creating diverse and rich lesson plans. So some of them mentioned about the teaching part because they were senior pre-service teachers, and some of them actually used these in their internships, which was very nice for me as well. And some of them mentioned about the future, and they said like students will be able to develop their analytical thinking skills and better understand cause and effect relationships without being tied to a single point. So I think it was an important reflection for them. And some of them mentioned that they like Stella online programs. Only one student said she had difficulty using the Stella online program. Others, some of them didn't mention, and some of them mentioned that they like it. And some of the students mentioned that it was more difficult for math program, integrating it into math, and they find it more easy to integrate it into science topics. But this student, for example, mentioned using it is important, integrating it into lessons because it strengthens students' conceptual understanding. So she said she wants to introduce this mindset to students in her lessons, and this will bring them different perspectives. So I think it was good reflection. And now I'm moving into the climate change education course. I offered in summer for 7 weeks, and 32 pre-service teachers enrolled, and I opened this course for the whole School of Education. So the first course was just for math and science pre-service teachers, but this is for, you can see, all the people that we have in our Faculty of Education. And again, majority was math ed people. And as you can see, and as Meltem mentioned, these are the students that took a course from Meltem, which is a great thing because they wanted to learn more about systems thinking. And usually preschool students don't take courses from math and science departments because they find it challenging. So I think this was very promising, and I felt really happy seeing these students in the classroom. And as I mentioned at the beginning, again, this is the semester that I'm giving right now, and 38 students enrolled. Again, I have math ed people the most. The reason why we have less preschool students, because I didn't allow like junior students, I only let senior students enroll into this course. And yes, as I mentioned at the beginning, originally when I was teaching about climate change, I was only focusing on the science part. But with this course, I not only focused on the science part, but also focused on like the social and economic part of it as well. And this is the syllabus. This syllabus looks more like the a general climate change education course. As you can see the difference, I didn't explicitly talk about systems thinking parts in the syllabus, but in the detail, you are going to see that how we implemented, how we use system dynamic tools throughout the semester. So again, the students were required to take ESD 101, Introduction to Systems Thinking course, at the beginning of the semester. This is the flipped course part. And optionally, they could take the Environmental Education with Systems Thinking and the World Climate Game module as well. And like the previous course that I mentioned, the previous one in systems thinking course, students were not required, like they could select any problem that they want, but in this case, they selected a climate risk, and throughout the semester, they worked on describing and exploring alternative solutions to that problem. And at the end, they were required to develop a lesson plan about climate change using systems thinking tools to integrate into their teaching practice. So for example, if they're in foreign education program, they were required to implement it into foreign education program. So I used this framework that was developed in Emre's book. And these are the problems that the students selected at the beginning of the semester and throughout the semester. After we talk about the topic in the course, I told them to go back to the risk that you determined and work on describing the risk. So these were the risks, and this was the whole picture, and it is under review. So Meltem and some other colleagues and I involved in writing an academic paper, and this was the whole model that we implemented. And throughout the semester, we started looking at the population and then consumption, and interpreted these both graphs, behavior over time graphs and stock flow diagrams, and compared wealth and emission, like being wealthy country, does it mean to emit more? So we had these kind of discussions. And then we moved into the science part, talk about carbon cycle. both before Industrial Revolution and after Industrial Revolution. And then we talked about the impact of greenhouse effect using these models. And also, not only we use these models, and as you can see the difference in the first course, students developed their models using Stella online program. Here we use the model that actually Emre developed, so I want to thank him as well. So this was developed as part of the project Meltem mentioned. And I also use like China's deadly science lesson and also looking at environment systems, public health, social justice, and economic prosperity and how they are related. So I asked students to select two and explain the relationships as well. And we played the infection game in order to see like how it impacts. We looked at the water in the reservoir task, looked at the carbon bathtub, used habits of systems thinker as well throughout the semester. And when I look at the reflections, so in this course, I didn't ask students to write reflections because I thought it would be too loaded in the course. But I think if I offer this course again, most probably I'm going to ask them to write reflections throughout the semester for me to see like how they are doing, like the first course I mentioned. These are just from the course evaluations. So students said inclusive course that provides a new perspective. And one of the students mentioned it was a course that added a lot to me in terms of its subject and increased my awareness. And this student mentioned it's great to be able to apply what I learned in class to my real life and learned a lot as a teacher candidate. And I myself become more aware of climate crisis and change my life practices accordingly. So it is good to hear this from the students. And informally, I asked them in class how they feel about it, because this was the first time I offered the course to whole School of Education. And there were students in science fields and non-science fields as well. And the science group said it was not very difficult for them scientifically. So it wasn't that challenging for them. But the preschool students or like English foreign language students said that if it was more loaded in terms of science, they wouldn't be able to catch up with it. So they said that it is like in balance. So that was a good feedback for me. And in terms of research, one of my students completed her thesis, and now she's in Netherlands, continuing her PhD. And ongoing master's thesis are these, and they are working with pre-service or in-service teachers or students. Actually, she's working with students. So I'm working with like different perspectives and try to understand how systems thinking is being used and students or teachers or pre-service teachers perceive it. And I hope I didn't exceed my time a lot. Thank you for listening. I can receive your questions and comments at the end after Burcu finishes her presentation.
Thank you, Gaye, for a very stimulating presentation. Let's go right to Burcu, so she has as much time as possible for her presentation. Thank you, Burcu.
Okay, thank you. Now I'm going to share my experience in the green part, Balıkesir University. You can see there are two types of lessons. One is education for sustainable life, that I implement systems thinking in it, like Gaye. And one is systems thinking in education. It is a graduate or undergraduate program. And I am working in Balıkesir University, Necati Bey Faculty of Education in Biology Education Department. My journey starts with environmental education. And when I start to read articles when I'm doing my PhD, I show Danilo Medov's books and articles. And then after this, I met with the association, our association. Then every week we start to meet with them. Then I want to know more about systems thinking tools, not systems thinking only, but tools are really exciting for me. Then I take the course, ECDX 101 course. and my knowledge is increasing, but I feel I'm not, I can't do it. I feel like this. But the mentoring with my association, with my partners, with my friends, it's I feel very lucky because there are a lot of experience there, and with the teachers and other programs that with Ülkem, Emre, Hasret, Gaye, and Meltem. We generally meet at on Sundays for half an hour, and every Sunday we try to make my courses contacts, and I feel very comfortable for this, and I'm very thankful for all my friends. First, I start with the education more sustainable, the sustainable life. This course was selected, and I had this course before. And when I met the friends, I put the systems thinking tools in this course. There are students from 9 different departments in this course. Some are scientific, but some are not so science, have some science information. So I try with them to, I want to share this one, behavior over time graphs. I know it looks like simple, but it was not the first graphs from my students, because it was really difficult for them to draw a graph, because they did it on, they didn't do it for many times. So I tried to show them, well, what is this and why this is important for sustainable life also. And I use the resources from our association, and I tried to make them this graphs. My students are, I'm lucky and not, because my school is state school, and my students are generally come from lower income families, and they generally don't have their own computers and continuous internet access. So I have to use paper and pen work, and they generally do their work on paper. I think they did good work for this lesson. And then I didn't stop, and I then tried to make stock flow diagrams with them. As you can see, they are not so proper here because they don't like a stock flow diagrams. But after we talk about them and how can we do them more properly, at the end, one of my students made this one. And I think it was really good for me and for them. And then I think that I have to share these experiences with other prospective PreService teachers. And I try to open a course which named, I have to go there, which named Systems Thinking in Education. And I applied to my university. Then they said, yes, you can open these courses. And I started these courses as a syllabus like Gaye's, and still with mentoring with them. And while we are doing this, we try to write a project to our national foundation, and we get the project. And the name of the project is Designing and Implementation of Systems Thinking course in Teacher Education Programs. It was 1-year project. But unfortunately, there was a big earthquake, in Turkey. And when we get the project, all the schools closed, and we start to give our lessons online. But my students don't have computers and internet, a continuous internet access. But still, I try to give them this lessons. Sometimes I record my lessons, and they watch them later. But after last year, I tried to do this project's context without scholarship. And we have also one PhD scholar with this, and we both Stella, and I think it's a good thing because our students can use, if they want, our PhD students or master students, if they want, they can use this Stella for modeling, and one of them is still working with Emre how to make our model. I want to share some experiences. 3 of my pre-service teachers, which were take my course from sustainable living, they come and they say, we want to use our lesson plans in our internship. So it was really nice for me. I think I have to go on. And one of my PhD students, Zeynep Güler, is still working on teaching sustainable development goals with systems thinking. And she designed a lesson plan with systems thinking tools about microplastics. And last year, she has an award in Ministry of Education. I'm really proud of her. And now on, this semester, I have biology 2 course, and the course's topics are systems in human. And now I am working with Emre. How can I use system thinking tools to teach systems in our body to the pre-service teachers of biology teacher? It is really another exciting thing for me. And I try to use fish banks game with pre-service teachers. I'm now working on this process, and I think we will have new projects, and we have to go on share our experiences with the pre-service teachers and also with us, because I'm really excited about learning more and more things about systems thinking tools. And thank you.
Thank you, Burcu. We have learned so much from each of your presentations. I actually think it would be a great idea for you all to talk at some point about creating a collective experience of guidelines for people who want to do this in other places, because you have worked through a lot of the problems of starting up. So thank you, Burcu. Thank you all of our presenters for sharing your experience with us, and at such young levels of teachers who teach such young students, where we think this would not apply. It does apply, and we have seen that you do it both as a systems thinking class and as tools for other subjects, which I think is a wonderful approach. So I will try to be quiet and allow the audience to ask you questions.